Oh no. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, I think that's it. My sound was off. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just recapping the market. I said going into CPI, basically, you're going to either, I think no matter what happens, we're going to be going lower into CPI. And that news is irrelevant to me in the overall direction of the market. It's just going to be a day trader battle. We could pop on that news and immediately reverse that pop, or we can either just have a massive waterfall sell off. So don't really care about the news. I just want to get positions on the short side that present itself like we saw yesterday on Friday with the SPY. This was a really good short setup. What was really funny is we heard about buying the dip. A lot of day traders love to trade the wave two hot on the upside, but you're really just picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. The better trade would be the short. And so we saw the three wave move. We hit the short area and we hit the downtrend line. So this was an ideal time to go short, which is what proved to be the case. And now we could be in another 1, 2, and should continue lower. Now, if we break this downtrend line, then it would open up and we should fill that gap at 449, but I do expect that would fail, and that would be another area to get add to your short position and build that up. So no guarantee that that will happen. A lot of people on the internet are like, 449, here we come, go long, buy, buy, buy. And I think if you're just doing that, you're setting yourself up for disaster. I've never seen so much chatter on gap trading in the last week and a half than I've ever seen in years. I don't know where this obsession of gap trading is starting to come from again, but I think it's just hopium. It's just giving people a reason to buy, but there's really no more reason to buy. So it's like to me, it's like the last signs of of hope that before we start going into a massive sell-off that's on the horizon. The technology sector, same thing. We could have peaked here, but if we do pop again, we'll be looking to add to the short position. If not, it could be already over, ready for wave three. And then the Dow Jones could could have peaked, but if we do pop, it will come here again, waiting for the wave three. The IWM is really interesting because it shows five waves already, which means we should more than likely on this fifth wave break the low to confirm the lower low sequence, the failed cycle, and then we could get a counter trend rally. The other alternative, it's a 1-2, 1-2, and it's just a waterfall sell off in wave three. So this may not happen that I have shown here because it kind of goes against the other three indices. So this could easily be a 1-2, 1-2, ready for massive sell off. So I do think CPI is risk to the downside, but again, there's a tricky market, and we could see a pop and then a fade, and you need to be prepared for that. And this would be the pop into this area and then a fade later on some other news. So that's kind of the big catalyst next week. But there's a lot of other black swans out there. There's Nvidia's, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Typical of when altcoins peaked, right? When altcoins peak, all of a sudden there's this FUD that comes out, and people believe it, whether it's true or not, and the price just starts to drop rapidly. That's typical of the end of a major cycle. If Nvidia is at the end of the grand super cycle, typically wave two there's a crisis that threatens the existence of the firm itself. That's typically what the wave two grand super cycle is. The company in itself is going to be in doubt as a going concern, as an enterprise, their business, something catastrophic, and that would be a pretty catastrophic thing if people start believing it, or God forbid it's true, the internet rumors are true, then that's a great wave two grand super cycle way to end that massive parabolic bull market from 2000 comes to a crash and ends, and that's how these stocks will end grand super cycle wave. Two's the existence of the firm itself is in question. I mean, and you're even hearing that with Disney now, that's in a grand super cycle wave too. So that's type of talk is what you want to see, and that kind of lets you know where you are in the cycle. So if we are at the end of the cycle for Nvidia, then I would expect people to believe that news and potentially even be true, and the stock price will lead the news. And despite denials or you refutes, the stock will just keep falling and falling. And if you all remember 2009, as the banks collapsed, Lehman, the CEO would get out there and there's nothing wrong here. We're doing great. And then they're like, hey, sir, your stock just crashed 20% as you were talking. Oh, no, just ignore that. That's nothing. We're still doing. So the stock will lead the. If you're worried about the Nvidia news, just watch the stock price. If the stock starts dropping rapidly, then typically that is your warning sign that no matter what's being said by the internet, the writers, the talking heads, the CEO, the money's leaving while the getting's good. They're getting out while the getting's good. So that's something to keep an eye on with Nvidia, and that's typically what happens. If the news turns out to be true, the stock will fall way before the news is ever proven right or wrong, because the smart money knows what's true and they're going to get out while the getting's good. So let's go through some of your questions, guys. Let's start out with Ryan, solar, and Enphase. So I would expect these to catch a bid eventually as oil keeps pushing higher. Typically they trade up with oil, but there's another problem with these stocks that I know that we've heard about, where the people that take out loans to buy this stuff through those companies, the rates are so high that their sales, people just can't buy the products anymore in the way they used to. So again, interest rates. So if I look at First Solar, I'm still looking for that capitulation move lower. I believe we're in a distribution process and we're ready to unravel a wave three, a three, at any moment. Once this breaks, then I'm looking for prices around 139, 130 to end this bear market and start for new highs. Now the thing about this also is it trades with a sector called TAN, the solar ETF, and that is not looking good. So this is also letting you know there's some dark times coming for solar. We broke the low. Okay, so this low here in March was broken on Friday, it looks like. So now you have a lower low, a failed cycle. So TAN should see much lower prices. So this is telling you there's a catastrophe coming in the solar markets. And again, I don't know why from a fundamental reason, but you're looking at TAN going to $21 at some point. So there's no way First Solar will survive that drop, and so it wouldn't be surprising to see it even go be below this 140 level. It could even come back into the 80 or $70 level. And as you can see, there's a ton of 1-2s that are just ready I mean, this is going to unload in a massive move lower. And then Enphase, we've always had our target at $70, and we're slowly getting there. And I believe that's where we're heading, somewhere down there. And again, a massive top-in process here that's going to break. And it hasn't done it yet. I think any day it will have a failed cycle, and then it should capitulate lower into the area that I have here. But it can easily go down into the 40s in this area. This whole entire area is open. And if you believe in the head and shoulders, pattern or, theory, then you're even looking at potentially going back to the long-term trend lines where, let's see if I can get this right here, somewhere around 2045, 23, 24. So it's got a lot more downside. So I don't like these sectors. I don't like these sectors. And what I think may happen is not just rates hitting it. If we look at where oil is, I've mentioned this oil forecast before, and I know it's messy, but you need to just see the idea. One, and then this swing will end, and we'll have a massive drawdown to lower oil. I believe this is your deflationary wave, your recession, or perhaps even worse, depression. The shutdown. No one. This is no GDP's negative, all that. That's what this is, and that would probably put the nail in the coffin in the solar and green trade. But right now, oil needs to finish this cycle. But now that we've broken this high, this can end at any moment. It doesn't have to get to $100 like I have it here, or 97. I can be wrong. This could still be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we may only we could get to 90, have the swings, and then the deflationary spiral commences. So I can't tell you where it is, but believe me, when this happens, all the solar stuff and green stocks and Teslas and all that shit's gonna get massively sold off because no one will want to buy it again anymore, and nor could they if rates are high. If this happens and rates are really high, that's got to be the death knell for those companies. My guess. But anyway, good luck on that. So let's just keep going, and yeah, guys, if you want to get your question answered, super chat. I'm only stay on for about an hour. P. Okay, small token for the grid trade. Okay, cool. I'm hope whatever idea I gave you worked out. It's always good to see that. I'm not always right, but most of the time they work out if you do it right, but you still got to manage it right. End phase has got to finish in that impulse I showed you. So it's not done, but to me it's irrelevant. I want to see the price hit that I showed you between $70 and $30. Until then, I'm not interested in buying it, no matter the wave structure. Hood and SoFi. Okay, so Robinhood is where were we on that? I think if I'm trying to remember, yeah, we're in this wave 4, so we should be pulling back to retest this trend line at $9, and that kind of aligns with the market forecast. And then we should see another pump in 5, followed by another massive crash that may even break this 4 and come back down to 8. So something like this would be ideal. Now, there's no guarantee of a wave 5, so you have to understand that if we break this downtrend line, then we're just going to have to say it's a corrective move, and it's starting its new sequence lower, which will take this low out, and it would head to a new low around 529. So there's no guarantee it's going to bounce here. It's just I'm just kind of speculating, and what I would be careful about is the Russell itself. Like the IWM should be dropping into this area, and then we should get a pretty good bounce. This should be wave 5 in Robinhood. This should be the wave 4, and then this should be that massive correction in Robinhood back, below the wave 4. That's how it should be. Now, if this bounce doesn't happen here and we just keep going down, or it's a real tight, connector, then Robinhood's going to $5. So to me, I'm not interested in buying any small caps, nothing, until the Russell is trading in this little area I've got, and I still would be really cautious. But if the Russell were to break the October low here, when this move happens, then I wouldn't even entertain any small caps on the long side, because this connector could become very shallow, and then that opens us up for 120 Russell, And then when we're down here, then I'll look to go shopping and see what's out there. And wherever Robinhood is trading, then maybe I'll pick it up. So this is called, trading where the market is going. And so the market is heading lower. And the question is, what's this bounce going to look like here? You know, Same thing with the SPY. We're going to come down into this 420 area. What's this bounce going to look like? Is it going to bounce and fail? Is it going to bounce and go to new highs? We don't know. Or is it just going to cut through that for 410 and then crash and then you don't. So we really don't know, but I don't want to be on the long side of any trade until we're in these areas here that I have highlighted, like in the Dow here, the SPY here, the triple Qs here, 340. Then I'll look at what looks good to buy. And then if this sell-off, we break some of these support areas, 409, 408, 32,000, triple Qs around 325, then I won't take any long trade. I won't even try to play the bounce, because then it's something much more serious. So that's how I look at the market right now. So anyway, SoFi to me probably will do the same thing as the other small caps, but it's even in a worse situation because of the financial sector it trades in. The financials are not a good trade right now. They're the weakest, one of the weakest sectors that you've got. And so when you add that in with the Russell, it makes a really dangerous stock to own. So let's see here. So let's take a look. So we knew we were going to get this wave one. Now with this wave, we're in this wave two. So this wave two, we don't know when it's going to end, right? I mean, I'm not a fortune teller, but it looks like to me, if the Russell and the Dow want to make that last pump higher, then this should pump one more time. But I would expect it to fail. But it could already be done here. It's kind of a coin flip. So maybe the idea is sidelines, and then if it gets to 927, 952, it opens up a short opportunity for wave three. And then if it doesn't happen, then it should just start falling in wave three. And I expect these lows to be taken out at $4 because of the lower low sequence here and here. This low broke right here, so that sets you up for a lower low in Y. So I expect that to be taken out. Okay, so I'm looking for that, but you can't eliminate the possibility of one more pump, but that would be a short opportunity if it presented itself. And then that would finish this. However, it can be done now. We've definitely pumped a lot here. Okay, let's see. KO and Love. Let's see if I have that stock here. I don't know if we've ever charted Southwest Airlines. No one's ever asked for that. Let's take a look at it. So within the grand super cycle, I mean, it looks pretty much like it's done in a super cycle degree. Let's take a look. So there's your 3-4 cluster. So yeah, so to me it looks like the grand super cycle ended on February 2018. And it's been in a correction ever since. That, and then we crashed, and we're coming back up, and now the question is it going to take that low out? Typically, grand super cycle right? It's correcting the whole cycle from the very beginning. So it probably will need one more leg, and this is its last leg of the correction. So if I'm looking at this, you know, correctly, we'll want to see that monthly go into the oversold area and take this price out at 23. This could become a great long-term investment opportunity on the horizon. Of course, as long as the stock doesn't go bankrupt, and I don't think Southwest is going to go bankrupt, but you don't know how they're managing their money with this high interest rate environment. So anytime you buy the grand super cycle wave 2, there's always a chance the company can go bankrupt, belly up. But this is the area that you would want to buy it at $20. This little area, and that could be a great long-term investor opportunity of a generation if you believe in this airline and it's gonna get its shit together here, and maybe interest rates will start to go down, and maybe fuel costs are lower, whatever your reason for it. But that's the count, and that's how I would look at it. It seems pretty likely we're heading there. We're heading down to this area, and but again, the grand super cycle corrections can go to zero. So if you buy it, you need to understand that. You need to keep an eye on what's going on fundamentally with the firm a little bit, because if you don't, you may end up losing all your money. And there's you see this long-term trend line, and it just happens to be right at the intersection of this box, so that all the technicals work here, and that would actually get you down to $12, which would be a pretty significant drop from where we are. That would be a massive recession. And again, if we go into stagflation, high oil, high interest rates, low growth, the airlines are going to get annihilated, right? So that's what this maybe is saying is going to happen. All right, let's look at the other one you had. Let's see, KO. Let's take a look at where we've got. So we're still looking for it to push higher to 78 in this pattern. We have the buy area here. We've been patiently waiting. It still needs to get down to 55. So I still think there's more downside. It needs to hold above this pivot at 54 to keep this valid. So I would just this is kind of the setup, and do what's best for you. If we lose that pivot, then we're still in this too, and we'll probably go down to 45. So it's tough to say, but I do think you have a 1-2, a higher high for a 1-2, and then another higher high and a 1-2. I don't think it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think it's that scenario, because your higher side peak is here and not here. So to me, it's more of a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. So the question is, are we in this 2 or are we in that 2? And if we're in this 2, it could go all the way back down to 42. So, but I do believe more downsides coming. But I think again it represents a good potential buying opportunity when this is whenever this correction's finished, for the wave 3 higher into these areas that I've got highlighted, or possibly even higher than that. Okay, 5 for anonymous. How likely is Bitcoin bottom at 20 to 21 versus 23 to 24? Based on my system, let's take a look at where my target is right now. Very likely, based on my system. But 23 to 24 means it's going to do something like that. And that's just not, I just don't think that's likely. I think you have a 3-wave move down, a connector, and now you're ready for your capitulation wave. And then this is a massive top that will break, right? It should drop to the next area of support, which is really 21,000. So to me, technically, it's very likely 21,000 is going to get touched. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes even lower to 18,000, even in those areas. So do what's best for you. But I mean, that's my opinion. I won't be a buyer until we're in this area that I have highlighted here. I won't chase it. I won't buy this dip early because there's too much downside risk. Uh, you mean it's retracing this move, um, so it could theoretically even go down to 17,000 again. And of course you have this extreme target 10,000, 8,000 level somewhere. This is the the oh crap target. The world's coming to the end. 10,000, 7, 9,000, 8,000 around there. Uh, so you don't want to buy it at 23 and then have it drop to 10,000 on a wick. You'll probably get scared and stop out. No one's got, unless you put in money you don't care to lose, it goes to zero, right? And then I guess it doesn't matter. Zillow. Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at Zillow. Thanks. Razak Carmen. Yeah, thank you. I'll get a look at the Zillow here. Let me think of where I have it. I don't have a lot. I don't track a lot of home stocks. That's something I probably should do. And they've been just so that sector's just not one I want to be in. All right, so I think it looks like we've charted this at one time, where we looked at it from a WXY and an AB, and we were calling it in C, and the C is extending. Again, you see this lower low. That's really that's a technical break, and then this is a bull trap wave that will come to an end. And it's about to. You see how it's about to break, and once that breaks, then this connector wave should be over, and that should open up prices to new lows, down to maybe 1864 to $6.69 this area for the final wave lower. So I'm looking for another WXY correction, another leg lower. Maybe something like that. But we don't have confirmation, but it's very, just like the market, it's hanging on an edge. It's hanging on an edge right now. Looks like the weekly cycle broke here on the RSI, right? You see that? So what that usually means to me is, let me find my thing here. Where's my arrow? Here, hold on. Find my arrow. There it is, arrow. This is going to come down like that, right? Because you have a weekly cycle, right? So you have this weekly cycle, right? And then you come up, and now you're going to come back down again on a weekly cycle. Okay, so until that cycle plays out, it's pretty much going to be in a downtrend. So that's the weekly cycle. The monthly cycle also is peaked here. You see this stochastic here. Flip it around. That's going to come down, and this is going to come down, right? So you go, when is it going to do it? Well, it already broke. Like this monthly cycle is already broke. You can barely see it, but it broke through. So to me, it's already made the turn. So it could be a great short opportunity, like right now, like like Friday when it did that little micro pump here. But again, all these day traders, all they're doing is buying the dip for whatever reason. They're not shorting. So I don't. But I mean, that's the opportunity here. It's a short trade for massive gains potentially on the short side, and if for some reason, again, we get that like little bit of we get a CPI pump and then a fade, then this will come back like SoFi will here. Let me Let's see if I can get this. What's going on here? My chart. Something like this, up to like 54.76. So just that could happen, but I believe we're now in the downtrend, and it should go lower. All right, Tina, thanks for the 5. I'll go ahead and go through your stocks. Pack. Pack is this the is it? I assume this is what you want. Pack this pack. There's a lot of different ones, so I'll just put in the comments if this is the one you want. I'll go to your next one. CMG. Chipotle. Yeah, Chipotle. Again, we've been trading this pretty right. We called the short here. This was a short area, and it's dumped, and now it's in again like wave two. You notice this is kind of common, right? We're in this wave two, right? So so we're in this wave two. So I think again, could wave two come up and fill this gap? It can easily do that. So, but it should end at any moment and open up wave three. Ultimate target looking for is $1,000. 994 under 1,000, maybe 800 somewhere there. As this plays out, this final leg lower. If we take this high out, it would negate the view. That would negate the view, but I don't think we're going to. And then INTU into it. Not sure if we've ever done this one. Yeah. So into it, nice parabolic move. Now, guys, look at the parabola. There's so many stocks that look just like this right now, like Eli Lilly, McDonald's, a lot. And then look what happens afterward. That's what's coming to all those stocks, guys, eventually. This will be that. Dow Jones, that. So get ready for it. It's going to happen because you can't just keep going straight up. It's just not going to, they call it the stick man charting, right? You can kind of go like this. Like this is how, maybe your kids would chart, right? You draw sticks and you just kind of draw from one low to another. And then when you get to vertical, then it's time to short or sell, right? There's just no more. This is not going to do that. So you're out of room. So this is an easy way to chart. And when you get to the stick man charting and you get to this point, then it's game over for anything, because it's just not gonna go to infinity. So I just want to show that because that's an interesting chart, like a bubble burst. So the question is, did it peak here? We need to go to the monthly cycle. What's interesting is we didn't take this RSI out. You see, we'd want to see that monthly drop and take these out. So more than likely, this got another leg lower coming at any moment. And so let's take a look at a couple things. So it is in a short area. It is in a short area here. There's another, because this could also be a flat. We want to respect that. So there's another possibility that it could also another area. So it's in this confluence of resistance. And then let's look at the Fibonacci retracement. It looks like it's going to the 618, 572. That would probably be a natural resting spot for where this will end. The weekly cycle, as you know, is going to have to come down. Let's look at the daily cycle. It's peaked out. So the weekly cycle hasn't broke yet. Let's look at the daily again. Yeah, this is finished at any moment. This is coming to an end at any moment, in my opinion. So it looks like to me just like a classic. It's going to be an ABC zigzag correction of some kind. Let's just say pretend it ended now, right? You can't really get the target until you know the cycle ended. That would bring you to 181.92, and that would probably get you the capitulation again on the grand super cycle we're looking for. So so of course if it goes higher, the target goes higher. Uh, but I would say that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. And it seems likely that this will happen only because we didn't get that RSI reset. And look, if you draw the line, isn't it like a coincidence we cross right where we would buy it? So it's a perfect spot to have this happen. Now, of course, it won't be a straight line down, so maybe over here. And again, maybe this will go up a little higher, and we will shift the box up. But regardless, somewhere like that. So I think this is the area. So I think this is a danger area for reversal at any moment, and you'll just have to do what's best for you on that. And then I'll say I'll just do that pack one that this one here. I've never heard of it. Let's take a look at it. Not a lot of charting history. That looks like 5 waves, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a crash. So to me, it looks like the first wave here. And now you're in some kind of wave 3 of the cycle. But you never took out the RSI peak, so you're probably not. You haven't hit your wave 3 of 3 moment yet. You're still probably in a wave 3 because you want to take that peak out. So to me, it's still got more upside. Uh, so somewhere here is your first wave ended, right? Yeah, something like that. And then it, more than likely you have another cycle here, and you're about to come out of that. Yeah. So as long as this peak, well, as long as this RSI doesn't take this out, and of course this price doesn't take out 125, this is a sound technical setup. Um, it looks like it could maybe go a little lower to like 167, 163, but not much. Somewhere here for the wave 303 breakout. So what does this company do? Some kind of energy company, or let's see. International airports in Mexico and Jamaica. Interesting. Um, yeah, it's kind of, I'm not sure why it would be so bullish, but this is the chart. What the chart is telling to me. I'm not gonna try to make sense of it, but if it were to if this RSI would it takes this out here, then then the setup's lost, and you'd have to assume that this is in some kind of two wave still, and it's going to come back down to like 120s. So I think for now this is the way to look at it. Maybe you can also draw a downtrend line and make sure that it doesn't break. You see that here to here, and then look, it crosses right where I have that box. So you have another you'll hit that right there. As long as that downtrend line, as long as this trend line's intact, but the minute you break it, then the setup's lost on the long side, and then it's got to be another combination. Okay, so let's go back to my questions and where we were. Bake and null tokens. Okay, crypto. I don't think we've ever done bake. That's a new one for me. And this is on Binance. Okay. If this is it, I would definitely not be interested in buying or even trading it. But I know people like to trade this stuff. Maybe they're trying to catch a bottom on a retrace. Let's see if it's got any signs of that. Um, this would be tough to analyze, but let's see. You have to go to the weekly. So we're just gonna have to assume the trend is lower here. Something like that. Something like that. One, two. And then you still broke, so you're probably still in some fifth wave. I bet that's still like a 4. Something like that. Let's see. That would be that right here. Yeah, I see why people are trying, maybe looking at this. It looks like it needs one more wave lower. And then you could see a massive retrace higher, back up to 37 cents. So I would be looking for a fifth wave lower, one more push lower, down to 6744. And then you may get one of those random pumps that no one knows why the hell it's pumping, and then you're retracing it, but I wouldn't. I would dump it. You would want to dump it like somewhere around here and get that retrace, and then it should continue lower. So that's bake, and then the next one is nulls. I think we may have done that one. Let's see. So 3 waves. This one's a little different. Yeah. Something like that. You haven't broke the low yet. All right, so since we haven't broke the low, let's take another look at it. Yeah, there's not enough chart data to do a proper analysis. Um, but you could make the case that this is your a bottom, a hard bottom at 8.7, and then we've built off of that because you do see 5 swings higher. So I'm going to assume that's the low as long as that holds, and then you could say that you have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you've retraced back in 3 here, and you've held that low. So this gives you a new pivot here at that low at 1342. And again, here you see you have 5 swings. So really tricky. You know, I'd still be careful, especially if Bitcoin's going to go lower. Um, but you have to do what's best for you. I think this is the bullish interpretation. I would say that as long as 13.5 holds, there's a chance it could still pump, continue higher, with the higher lows. See, and that could be your wave 3, and that's your wave 5. Yeah, this one's tough. It's a lot of risk here, but so the it 15.4 would be the buy area in a retest of that low. So it'd be a very small buy with a tight stop loss if you got to here to try to play for another move higher. And of course, if it breaks, then it should unravel quickly and it should drop well below its all-time low, well below 8 cents. So it's really tough, but this is the bullish setup. I see 5 swings with a 3-wave pullback, and then I see another 5 swings here, and I see it trying to finish this 2-wave. So I mean, it seems like it's trying to trend higher, and it looks like to me that cycle, this 2 should be ending at any moment. It could even be done here. If you look at the RSI, it actually looks like it broke already higher. The weekly cycle may push up here. Let me see here. You have to line that up right there. Yeah, so not yet. It hasn't broken up. So that would be look for that weekly cycle. Now the daily cycle's a clue that it has moved higher. So there's a chance this 2 could already be done. So a real tough one to trade. This is one of the harder coins to try to be trading. But that's the setup I see until some kind of wave 3, and if it follows these fractals, it should do something crazy like that. You know, with something like deep, a massive crash, another small higher high, and then just kind of continuing the fractal. So we'll see what happens with that one. So I've got about 10 more minutes. I'll go through what else I have here. Matic and Ethereum. Yeah, Matic is always been struggling. It is in our buy area, which is interesting. Here with a 3-wave pullback, it hasn't had a technical failure yet. But I think with Bitcoin going down, you need to be aware that this pivot could break at 31 cents. So it does look like this low here has to hold at 51 cents because you have a new cycle with a connector, and there's no more room to the downside. So if you believe in this bull case that I have here, you really need that 51 cents to hold. If it breaks, then this bull case is negated. Then this is a big 3-wave move down here with a connector, and we would go down in another 3, and we would go much lower. How low? Let's see if we can get a target. Unfortunately, there's no target, so it's going to be tough to figure out where exactly it could go. We could see maybe 6 cents potentially, but I mean, you'll have to do what's best for you. If Bitcoin, like I said, Bitcoin's going lower, chances are it's going to break that. So I think it's probably smart to assume the worst, and just assume that's going to go lower here, and it's going to finish that cycle. So we have a bigger cycle here. Actually, it'd be better to label it this way. And then this should bounce, and then it should fail again. So something, I don't know, you have to use your imagination, but you see how, you see how this was in 3 swings, and it took from May 21 to June 22, almost a full calendar year to play out. So this is February 23. It may take to like February or March 24 to finish whatever mess it's in. So anyway, just kind of sharing it. I don't think it's a buy. I wouldn't buy it. Looking at it here, I would think it's going lower. It's probably going to break this low very soon, and when it does, it should open up more downside, possibly the 6 cents, and then Ethereum. We haven't really looked at that in a long time. So this is this is an old chart that we have a 3-wave connector, and we should be finishing this Y wave. Yeah, we're still in Y, although it could be done here, but more than likely we're not. Yeah, you see this. So we're still in this wave, and we're still in the Y wave until this breaks up. So it should extend lower, like again, like Bitcoin. This one's a little bit harder to time. See, I don't like that. It almost looks like it needs a pump. It's almost like I think it's missing a pump. And then it could drop to 1254, 1100. I mean, I'm just going to speculate here a little bit, but I think we could get one more pump and then it could just crash, but I don't see that happening with Bitcoin. So this chart is kind of ugly because you didn't really get the bounce here with any strength. So that really does set you up for a bigger drop, a deeper drop down to these lower areas, so like 1,000, 1,100. And again, I have the worst case area shaded, which is the if Bitcoin were to go down to 10,000, down to this area, then this will go down to the $600, $400 area, maybe even as low as $200. So I don't think that's the case. So I just show right now, maybe we could get to 1100, but we should go down more. Just like I have with Bitcoin, I do think Bitcoin is susceptible to drop at any moment in this Y wave, just like the rest of the market, which means Ethereum will do the same and should drop to 1200 at any moment. But like I always say, do what's best for you. UNG is in a accumulation process with natural gas, and if you're interested in natural gas, you're just going to have to be super patient and manage your money well, not use leverage. But I do think there's maybe some downside coming, especially if oil is going to make that drop I showed you. So let me find UNG real quick if I can see where I got that. Yeah, so this has just been a kind of a mess coming out of here. So we were looking for this impulse out, but we didn't get it. So the corrective structure is continuing, right? It's continuing. And so what I'm thinking is going to happen, just like natural gas, is we have the first wave over, and we're going to come back and retest this low and then come out of this. This is kind of what I'm thinking at the moment in the lows at 588. So I do think there's more downside. But if we were to break this 590, 588, then it will open us up for much more lower downside. And then you maybe, then it could be pretty bad. So right now I have this as a flat. And as you can see, we're running out of room to finish it as it keeps making a 1-2, 1-2. So I would be worried. And I hadn't looked at UNG, so I mean, this one looks really bad compared to the other two, like we're running out of room. So if this breaks, then it negates the setup. Then this is a connector for this entire move down, and it probably will move this, down into the $3 to $2 area. And maybe that is where we're heading with natural gas if oil is going to drop as much as I think it could in the back half of the correction. So I don't like, trading it, investing in it, maybe as long as you're above these pivots. But if this pivot gives up or in oil gives up its pivot here, I would leave it in a heartbeat. I would not stay in it. So these are very important technical levels. 45 in oil, I think 2.1 or 2 in natural gas. Yeah, I mean, these are important levels that have to hold, and it's like a double bottom. But if it breaks, then there could be a lot more downside opened up. So I'm just not really interested in this at the moment. I'm just kind of watching it and see where it goes. But I mean, this looks like to me accumulation. It looks like it should find support here for at least one more push higher before we get a lower low. It just seems like that if we're going to get a lower low. So I don't have a good forecast on natural gas. There's too many mixed messages out there to forecast it properly. So I just don't I don't recommend trading it. I won't trade it. All right, so I'm just going to kind of scan through comments and wrap it up. If you didn't get your questions answered, you could just super chat next time, and I'll go right to it. Yeah, I'm as you know, private person. I don't like doing live chats and stuff. People have asked me for that. I don't do that. But if you DM me, I'll usually respond to your DMs. And XLM, Tilray, AMC. I don't like any of the small caps until the Russell bottoms. Yeah, Mexican airport. I don't know why it's so bullish. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe it's a currency thing or something. I don't know. Way the earnings, gets recognized with the currency. This isn't a peso really, I think, strong right now or something. I don't know. It's interesting why that looked so good, that chart. Oh yeah, peso. Yeah, someone just put that back pearl. Yeah, so I guess it makes sense. I guess investments going into Mexico right now. That's what that chart's seeing. Yeah. Yeah, I use the Elliott wave for all instruments, even penny stocks. I don't like small caps on the long side right now until the Russell gets into these areas that I showed. So I don't like buying any small caps. And guys, like the strategy that we've been trading all summer, buy the dip, right, is now over. It's sell the rip. It's been sell the rip for the last, since August, except for one brief moment where I did buy this box here to play this pump. But again, I get out a little early, so I got out at this peak here. And then of course it crashed, and then no one knew it was going to do that, but then I was able to short that, and now I'm well into profit. So all these pops we're getting, I'm looking to short. I'm not looking to buy the dip until we get into these lower areas. And so for the small caps, it's the same thing. I don't want to buy any small cap until the Russell's at 172, 168. Once the Russell's there, then I probably will go shopping with small caps and look at the ones that always, people like to trade, and like, Robinhood and stuff like that, because if anything, they'll bounce. We'll get a bounce here, and those will have some really nice gains, even if it's going to go lower. That's what I'm looking for here. But right here would be really treacherous to be buying any long caps. Again, it's picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. If you're trying to play these like little micro, like like if you're trying to play these like wave twos and wave fours, and you're hoping for another wave two, and if you're trying to if your strategy is to play the long side, then you're trading counter trend trading, and you're going against the grain. You're trading against the stream. The current is going against you, so your chances of losing are much greater than if you're trading with the current, right? If you're trading on the short side, even if you miss up with your timing, the trend is going to help you recover. But on the long side, if you get it wrong, you lose a lot of money. And I did see a lot of traders lost a lot of money Friday because they were buying the dip. There's all this buying the dip shit. Everyone was like trying to play the long side on Apple, the long side on Tesla, when you should be actually shorting all those things. And you should be playing the short side. So a lot of traders don't know how to flip. They don't understand the cycles ended. They don't understand the weekly and daily cycles have broke, and they're still trading like it's in a 1 hour cycle. But yeah, maybe the 1 hour cycle will bounce, but then you have the daily and weekly cycle working against you, and so you're ultimately going to lose unless you're like a pro trader and you can get in and out. And a lot of people weren't, and they were losing money on Friday because people were like, hey, buy Apple, it's going to fill the gap. Oh shit, it didn't fill the gap. Well, no. Well, yeah, just hold. I'm just going to hold it over the weekend. Well, there's no reason to be playing these little bounces when the overall trend is lower, right? You should be shorting now. But a lot of traders can't flip, right? They still want to trade like we've been doing, since all summer, right? They want to trade like we're still here, but that cycle's over, guys. This cycle's over, and we're in a higher degree correction. So a lot of people don't recognize that. So you have to shift. You have to shift your thinking. But a lot of traders they don't. They like to at the end of a cycle do the wrong thing, and this cycle's over. This WXY cycle is over. This, and so now that we're in this new cycle, we have to shift the way you think about the market now. The market is now sell the rip mode. So if you're following people that are like buy, just know you're taking a lot of risk unless you're scalping, unless you're just getting in and getting out. But boy, you've got to make sure you get it right. And like Friday was a good example. I don't know why people were thinking this gap was going to fill here. Look at the technicals. You had the three-wave move, you had a perfect sell area, and then you had a massive downtrend line, and it got totally rejected. And everyone was like shocked that this happened. But this to me was so obvious. But yet people were still saying buy here, buy here, buy here because we're going to 449. And I worry that what if right here is now we're in another 1-2, and you're still trying to buy, hoping for this gap that just never comes, and then by the time we're down here, it's too late. So you just got to be careful. But now that you got this rejection, you have a connector for this move. So now there is a chance you could still get that pump up. Now you could, but I would never play that because it's still counter trend to the direction of the market, because there's no guarantee. So I'd rather just short here, hold, come up, short more, build a position, and then let it come, versus trying to play these little games that people are hoping for. The last thing I do want to show NVIDIA real quick. NVIDIA, as you know, is in danger of a grand supercycle correction, but it hasn't had a structural breakdown yet. I do think we're heading to 410, and then we should get a bounce in this B wave, and then after that, it's anybody's guess what happens in C. So I do think this is a very important chart to keep an eye on, and I do think it looks like to me the cycle, as you can see, the weekly cycle clearly is broken. The monthly cycle is broken. But let's look at some of the longer term. The quarterly cycle, not quite, it's not enough information yet. But if we could get this to start coming down, then I would be really concerned. But as you can see, you still have a lot of bearish divergence. So I do think with NVIDIA, you need to be really careful that you don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, we could easily come down to 338. But if you look at its fractals, like and again, I've showed this before when we first saw that pump to new highs. Back in the dot-com burst, right? It was really interesting because the dot-com bubble burst in March, right? It actually made a new high, and then it crashed all the way back down. So if the fractal plays out in these fractals, so this stock is susceptible to massive crashes. It would it be surprised to see the whole pump reverse back to 106 or under? So just something to think about if you're going long Nvidia, and of course if that happens, the market's in a lot of trouble. All right, so I think that's all I've got, guys. So we'll talk later, and good luck trading. I think CPI is the big news event next week, unless we get the black swan, of course. I guess last week our black swan was Apple being, targeted by China, which no one expected, but that was the news the market attached itself to justify the sell-off. This week, who knows? We have Apple's rolling out its new phone, so maybe that won't go well. Again, there's chatter around NVIDIA. Then there's some movement around Taiwan I'm hearing on the internet. So there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of bad situations out there that can easily become black swans that no one is tracking. Then the obvious news that's in front of your face, like CPI or the Fed meeting. So there's a lot of information, but the market is susceptible to a massive drop at any moment with the right catalyst. And just like a wildfire, it will spread quickly, and there'll be everyone rushing for the exits, but the exit door will be so small there won't be any where to go, and you could see a massive market meltdown in a very short time. That's the conditions the market's in right now. All right, guys, that's all I've got.